Yeah, welcome to my channel. I'm not, as you can see, in front of my setup. I am working remote a little bit. Unfortunately, it was an unfortunate situation that I had to work remote today. I didn't get a chance to see the entirety of the Game 7 Knicks game. I did see the first three quarters, and towards the tail end of, with 5 minutes or 6 minutes remaining of the fourth quarter, as I called it, basically, it was one of those things where I think the Knicks needed needs a superstar. Brunson has proven otherwise. I mean, it depends, though. I can't say that it does depends how it would have worked out for him. Had he not been injured, would he have gone into the 40-point range? But let's I'll be honest. It's one of those things where Brunson did not step up in game 4 or game 3. Oh, sorry. Yeah, game 3, game 4, and pretty much game 6 as well, too, quite honestly. I mean, game 6, he did step up a little bit, but they still lost. And they lost bad. Let's put it that way. They did lose bad. Now, everyone could say, like, oh, well, game 3, yeah, he got injured, he had to go out. But during that entire game, he still wasn't shooting really well. And it was a case where, like, yeah, granted, if Naismith doesn't hit that three-pointer, the Knicks probably go up 3-0. And if they're up 3-0, the chances are they win. They go to the next series 4-1 or even a sweep. But Brunson proved that even though he's getting to that level of the superstar level, this is the playoffs. You're not going to have a superstar that's going to go day in and day out regular season. And that's totally understandable. They'll have off days. But playoffs is a whole different beast. And let's not forget, like, if you want to be that go-to guy, that superstar, you better be knocking those shots down. And, like, granted, it looked like in Game 7 for a moment there, he was probably going to step in and show up because, like, it seems like he needed to warm up or whatever it may be. But in reality is that wasn't the case. Now, yeah, I'll admit the Knicks were injury plagued this entire series, that they didn't have their full roster healthy, and I undoubtedly will not disagree that yes, had they been all healthy, chances are they beat Indiana hands down easily. Probably three, 4-2, 4-1, most likely. But that's a big if. I think if OG was there, yes, it changes the dynamics of the entire team. If Randall was there, it's hard to say because yes, there's regular season Randall, and then there's playoff Randall. Playoff Randall doesn't do so well, and he'll bring the rest of the team down. So if Randall was there, chances are he could have brought the entire team down. So it's better to sit him. But if OG was there, Mitch Robinson was there, I think that changes the dynamics a little bit at that point as well too. But again, it comes down to this. This series proved that Brunson is not that tier 1. He's still at that tier 1A. Now, that's what this is right now. Next year, it might be a whole different beast. He might go to that tier 1 level. I mean, like, his contract does end and then at the end of next year, to the point where, like, he wants that payday. So he's probably going to step up and up his game even more to the point where he becomes that superstar level. But whether he becomes to the superstar level of a tier 1 like a Michael Irving, not Michael Irving, Kyrie Irving, sorry, I'm mixing him up now, sorry. With the Kyrie Irving, if he comes to that level of Kyrie Irving, then yeah, it changes everything considerably at that point. But from my perspective, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion alone. I mean, you're welcome to disagree. I don't think Brunson is that tier 1 superstar. He's more of that complementary star. He's the Robin to the Batman that they need. Like, honestly, he's more of like what we would consider to be, maybe he would be the Steve Nash or the Scotty. Well, I don't want to say Scotty Pippen because Scotty Pippen alone could was able to do certain things as well too. But he probably was the Scotty Pippen to a Michael Jordan that he needs. Um, Not a Paul Gasol because it was mostly Kobe more than anything else. He might be the He might be that secondary. He would be that secondary role to the primary, which we don't have. The Knicks don't have, and honestly, I don't know who they get. Um, you can get a Donovan Mitchell because look, that's still. It sounds like it's open for Donovan Mitchell. I mean, but the question is, if you had a choice between Donovan Mitchell and Phoenix, I'd probably go with the Phoenix route and get Devin Booker because you know what, just give up some of those draft picks, which Phoenix clearly doesn't have anymore, so they need those draft picks. So that draft capital basically. So you get Devin Booker, match him up with Brunson and with OG. I think it changes the dynamics of now. Hardenstein meshed well with the team, and he was that pick and roll for Brunson. I hate to say this, but you're not gonna keep Hardenstein unless you trade off some team, some of your some of your bench players and high profile players. I hate to say it's if you bring in Booker, you're probably gonna have to trade either Hart or Dante DiVincenzo, or even McBride for that matter, because you can't keep any of those three if you're gonna get a Booker, and if you want to keep Hartenstein as well too. Um, I hate to say this, but it's one of those things where for me, I want to let the series play out a little bit more, or the season play out a little bit more, and see what happens with Minnesota, more specifically with the Dallas game, um, and see how they play out as well too. Because quite honestly, maybe Luka's unhappy. I don't know. Maybe he becomes unhappy. Um, that would be interesting to see how that plays out. Because I mean, after the Thunder, they're a young team. I think SGA's could probably recruit some people at that point as well too. Um, if Luka can't get past the T Wolves, maybe Luka becomes unhappy. Maybe Michael Irvin, Kyrie Irving decides to leave at that point as well too. I don't know. But I'd like to say this is more of it's a case of I want to say the Knicks' future looks good and bright because I think now Knicks management know the type of players that they need if they want to keep Tibbs, because I think they know who Tibbs is and what's his coaching style, that what type of players you need to provide him. Brunson, Hart, all these players that they have right now are the ones that fall into Tibbs's mentality of his coaching style, which is basically you get a ball out, bust out, and play as though it's your last game every game. And these players were doing that. Even OG was one of the people and this is why I love OG. Guy had a hamstring. I don't know what he did. He somehow convinced Tibbs, I want to play in Game 7. He was playing. I thought it was hey, he's there. But, Tibbs took him out because he's there's no way he's going to be able to play at that point. I don't think he knew he was not at full capacity. Took him out. Similarly with Brunson, he was going to come. Hart, love his heart, pun intended. I mean, guy was probably still having abdominal pain. He was still, going all out, and I think he epitomizes. You know what? I just realized that what Hart truly reminds me of. He reminds me of Charles Oakley and Anthony Mason of the '90s Knicks. These were hard grinders that were there in the I don't want to say the thick of things, but they were there grinding it out. Basically, they were doing the little nuances that made up for the team. If their offensive game wasn't there, their defensive prowess, their offensive rebounding, their defensive pressures were there. And I think that's what I loved about Hart. That's what I like about Hart. And I this series, as well as the Philadelphia series, proved that we need that type of player as well too. Those type of players. And again, I'll say this. The Knicks again barely beat Philadelphia with the Joel Embiid, with an injured Joel Embiid. If Joel Embiid was 100% healthy, I think the Knicks don't get out of that first round. They don't get out of that first round. And again, my opinion, but it's up to you. But you're welcome to leave a comment and let me know your thoughts on that. I do read my comments and I do respond to them. But I'm telling you right now, after seeing that Philadelphia game and how close each games were, and like with a Joel Embiid that was like maybe 50%, and how the Knicks barely beat him, I think it proves that, and that's why I was so worried about the Pacers. I wanted the Pacers, but I was so worried about the Pacers because the way the Pacers were. I mean, Halliburton is showing his potential now. He's showing his full potential, and it'll be interesting to see how not Philadelphia, how the Pacers play against the Celtics. I'm pretty sure the Celtics are going to win, but I'm not going to put the Pacers out. Quite honestly, I wouldn't put them out because even though defensively they're not that good, if the Celtics defense is not there, Indiana is going to go, stay head for head with them with buckets, basically. So like, I would see it as a high scoring game if Boston doesn't step up their defensive prowess in this series. Between Oakland and Dallas, uh, I mean, not sorry, Minnesota and Dallas. Between Minnesota and Dallas, if Cat stays out of foul trouble, and Cat is basically the linchpin, the key to the series. If he has a good series, Minnesota advances. If they don't, if he doesn't do good, and it's just Anthony and Ant, they'll stay in the game, but they probably lose it. So Cat is the key into that series as well too. But again, let me know your thoughts. Leave it in the comment section, and I do read my comments and I do respond to them. If you like my videos, like my content, and like my channel, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And I think more and more, I might keep this channel more towards the sport end of reviews, as maybe a little bit also movie reviews or TV shows reviews as well. The tech stuff I think is going to be in another channel that I created at that point. I'm going to push it to that for all the tech review stuff because as great as it is, I think I'm going to push it to that channel because I want to go all tech. When I talk about tech, I want it to be specifically all about tech and like even get a little bit more in depth on that. Um, but with this is just more of a case where like again, random stuff at that point, anyways. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, of course, always unrehearsed. Until next time.